Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our council meeting today. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you for coming and welcome. I'm going to ask if there's any pecuniary interest of anyone under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Disclose it now, please. Hearing none, we'll move along to reporting out of closed session. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Johnson. That council of the town of Minto receive the closed session report regarding proposed and pending acquisition and disposition of land and third-party information supplied in confidence to the municipality as information. And further, that council confirms the confidential direction given to staff. All in favor of that motion? So I'd just like to ask anybody that is speaking today, address the podium, state your name, and we'll go from there. So got a resolution moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Elliott, that the minutes of the town of Minto, July 14th, 2026 closed session meeting and July 14th, 2026 regular council meeting be approved. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the town of Minto Council convene into committee of the whole. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. Today we have a public meeting in reference to it's a ZBA 2026-003. It's a Menzies 9563 O'Dwyer Road, town of Minto. I'll act as chair of this public meeting and call the meeting to order. And I'll ask and Clerk McRob to ensure that any member of the public present is recorded on the attendance record. I'll also state the following: if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the town of Minto to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So I'll ask Clerk McRob to state the municipal address and the legal description of the property.
Thank you. The property subject to the proposed amendment is located at concession 13, part lot 6, registered plan 60R1171, part 1, part town of Minto. The subject property has a total area of 4.86 hectares or 12 acres. The purpose and effect of the proposed amendment is to rezone the subject lands from site-specific agriculture A-86 zone to a new site-specific agricultural A-132 zone to remove the permanent use of a dog kennel from the severed portion B16/26. Additionally, the amendment seeks relief from the minimum distance separation 1 MDS1 requirements between the existing barns and the proposed severed parcel. The notices were mailed to the property owner within 400 feet or 120 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on July 22nd, 2026. Reports and comments were received from Wellington County Planner, Town of Minto staff, and planning technician of the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Anneline. So I'm going to ask our county planner, Jamie Barnes, to provide the proposed amendment to the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 01-86. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Can you just make sure you press the button on the screen? We're good. Okay. Well, good afternoon, Mayor Terry and members of council. Thank you for giving a little intro to the application. I'm happy to present the report to you guys today as well. So just to reiterate, the property subject to this application is municipally known as 9563 O'Dwyer's Road, and as per the county official plan, the property has a secondary agricultural designation, and it is currently zoned agricultural exception A-86. So the zoning application is a condition of severance application B1626, which was at the July Land Division meeting earlier this summer. And the application is to rezone the severed parcel, which was seen on this image the last image that was just up, to rezone it from agricultural exception A-86 to a new agricultural exception A-132 zone to recognize the relief from the MDS distance separation 1 requirements from 2 barns, which are on 2 separate neighboring properties. Additionally, this amendment will also remove the kennel site-specific provision that is currently placed on the whole property. So to further break down the MDS relief, planning staff note that the MDS 1 setback from barns existing on the neighboring property at 9576 O'Dwyer's Road is 162 meters, whereas the required distance is 100 meters. And then the setback from the existing barn located on the retained parcel, which is 9563 O'Dwyer's, is also 162 meters, whereas the distance required is 117 meters. So overall, planning staff, we have no concerns with this application. And we believe that it is consistent with provincial policy as well as county policy. We have brought a bylaw to this meeting for your consideration. And we hope that this helps in your decision making. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. We'll, if there's questions, we might ask you to come back, but we'll move ahead to our Town of Minto's Director of Building and Planning, Terry Kuipers. Do you have anything to add, please?
The only thing I would like to add or just to mention is the existing property or the retained parcel used to contain a dog kennel. The owners indicated that it's no longer, dog kennel is no longer being used on that property. But the former kennel structure, just wanted to add, is about 50 meters away from the property line for the severed lot, whereas our dog licensing bylaw requires a minimum setback of 150 meters. There are exemption processes within our dog licensing bylaw. So if the owner wants to reestablish the use of a kennel on the retained parcel, then either the kennel would have to be relocated, that kennel structure, or an exemption would have to be provided for it. I just wanted to mention that it has nothing to do with the rezoning process or the consent application, but just for council's information.
Okay, thanks, Terry. So I'll ask owner applicant, Mr. Stephen Menzies. He's the owner of the property. If you want anything to add, Mr. Menzies?
Just a matter of interest. I'm interested in the whole process, very impressed by it all. I will never want to go back and use a kennel. I was the worst kennel dog ever in the history of mankind. Didn't manage to breed one dog, didn't manage to sell one dog. Can't wait to have this removed. And me or my children or future generations, wherever the dog goes.
So Steve, do you mind stating your name, please?
Sorry, Stephen Menzies, M-E-N-Z-I-E-S.
Okay. Thank you. Might be questions? So we'll move along. Thanks. I'm sorry if you, I thought you were finished. Okay.
I'm a lawyer. I'm used to getting judgments. I'm nervous every time I go to court.
So we're clear that you want to get rid of this dog kennel license, so. All right, so I'm gonna ask any persons wishing to speak to the application. Anybody want to speak to the application? So I'm going to give our members of council the opportunity to ask questions of anyone that you want to. Okay. Seeing none, then I'm going to, you've had your piece, Mr. Menzies. If there's anything else that you want to say. Okay, so we're going to move along here. I'm going to say, if you wish to be notified of the decision of council of the town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Hairston, NOG 1ZO, or by email at annaline@town.minto.on.ca. So if there's no more further comments, I'm going to adjourn the public meeting. Pretty simple, eh? All right. So then we're going to move along to delegations. And we happen to have in our midst today our Maitland Valley Conservation Authority Chair, Ed McGugan. Welcome, Ed. He's going to talk about the Maitland Valley Conservation, the presentation to council regarding the amalgamation of the local conservation authority. So Ed, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. I should have said that. You can leave if you want, but you can stay if you want.
You can put your microphone close.
He's got a loud voice. Welcome, Ed.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for taking the time to hear what we have to say. Again, my name is Ed McGugan. I'm the councillor for the Township of Huron-Kinloss, just in the southern end of Bruce County. I'm also the chair of the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority and vice chair of Conservation Ontario. The Maitland Valley Conservation Authority is very concerned about the province's plan to amalgamate Ontario's conservation authorities, which is 9 regional conservation authorities, as you can see from that map. Rural and the organization of the CAs, as outlined by the minister, appears to have more layers of red tape, not fewer. For example, right now we have a Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. We have 36 conservation authorities. What is going forward is Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency, or OPCA, 9 regional conservation authorities, and local watershed councils. That's 4 layers of red tape versus 2. And interestingly enough, one of the new members of OPCA is the Deputy Minister of Red Tape Reduction. She might have her work cut out for her. Rural Ontario will have a very dramatic reduction in involvement with the work of conservation on our lands and in our small towns. And we will have markedly reduced representation in the governance of these regional CAs. Lower tier townships, lower tier towns will no longer be involved, according to Minister McCarthy, which means that we will not have representation there either other than through the county. No evidence has been given to indicate that the changes will yield any improvements. Current and past experience indicates that provincial agencies don't necessarily do well at the local level. For example, at the MVCA, we have an average turnaround time for permits of 5.7 business days. And for every permit that we approve, we have 1 permit where we've actually worked with the clients that they do not need a permit. That's good customer service. And I think we'd be very surprised if the provincial agency at that level can match that kind of performance. Give you a small example. We have a town not too far away from here. It's on a provincial highway. They have a lot of businesses on the south end of the highway now. There's a seniors home down there now, and they want to move the 50-kilometer-an-hour speed limit out another half a kilometer just because of the built-up area. They made that application to the MTO 24 months ago, and they still do not have it changed. So our concern is you go to the provincial level, you might not get a 5.7-day turnaround time on permits. The science of watershed management would indicate that riverine system watershed management area has been the best approach for 3/4 of a century. A provincial agency and a very large regional CA are fully expected to lack the ability and the knowledge to work on the local level as required. We kind of get used to in our rural areas to have people from the Conservation Authority come to your site and see what's happening. I know last spring we had 100-year flood in Lucknow, and we had all kinds of NVCA boots on the ground. People running up and down the streets, driving around, keeping an eye on things, and watching what was happening and helping the local municipality and the people in the town. The minister and the premier stated that they're listening to the experts. Agricultural business in Ontario contributes $52 billion to the economy, and we do not think the experts have properly taken into account how important it is to keep conservation very close to this rural and agricultural base. That being said, the province has made it clear that they are proceeding with this conservation authority amalgamation regardless. We have transition committee meetings coming up, supposed to be this summer. They've been pushed off to the fall now. And these are supposed to follow the province's playbook on amalgamating the CAs. Of course, the reason it's pushed off is the playbook is not ready yet. The Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency, or OPCA Executive Director, has stated to us that the cost to conduct the transition meetings should be minimal. We are concerned that these costs may well be significant, and we feel that since this is the province's initiative, they should pay for the transition and amalgamation costs. We also believe that the timeline to do the amalgamation is very, very tight, and that no due diligence can be possible if the results will be forced. And we've initiated a series of pre-transition meetings with the affected CAs in our region to try to get ahead of the curve and ensure that our rural and our small town values and priorities are baked into the new regional CA. Quinn, could you please put that photograph up with the people? So what we've done is we've taken the initiative and had some pre-transition meetings to make sure that things don't get away from us on a local level. The bottom line is we expect this amalgamation to be more costly for the local taxpayer, less effective in protecting the local environment, Lake Huron, and our waterways, and our farmers and their landowners. Will not make any significant difference in reducing housing costs or increase housing builds. We still don't want people building in hazard zones, whether it be flooding hazard or erosion. We also believe it will degrade the local participation in our democratic process, and it is a harbinger of more amalgamations to come. One of the latest things that we just received just last week, unfortunately it's not able to get into, is a chart that we received from the Ministry of Environment and Conservation Parks that delineates how much representation we will have on the new Lake Huron Regional Conservation Authority. And Wellington County is down here with having one member, same as Bruce County, same as Huron. We have a tremendous amount of land, a lot of energy, a lot of food production. We've got the water, we've got the recreational areas, and the board will already be dominated by the Lake Simcoe region. We will have the majority of the votes on the board right from the very first one. And so what our big ask is we would ask you to please, when you have the opportunity, to communicate to our provincial elected representatives, cabinet ministers, and the premier that the amalgamation of the conservation authorities is causing a great deal of concern in this part of the province, and that at a minimum, the Lake Huron Region Conservation Authority should be split into 2 parts, so it is indeed a Lake Huron region, and let Lake Simcoe region do their own thing. They're a very heavily populated part of the province. We wish them the very best. We hope that things go very, very well for them. But it's very different. We do not want to be dominated by Newmarket. We don't want them to control the board, the budget, and the staffing. However, so that's what the ask is to you folks. Please, if you have the opportunity, speak to our provincial representatives and let them know that we're not happy to be dominated by Newmarket or Lexington. So thank you, Mayor and Council and staff for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any questions? Ed, I'm sure you've heard this numerous times, as
Yes,
Councillor Potnowitz is our representative to Maitland Valley.
just a comment, I guess you talked about timelines, and do you see the timelines improving with under this new regime, or do you think it's going to get worse?
Well, there's 2 aspects to it, if I may, through you, Mayor Jordan. The Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency is going to put together a computerized, open, single window permitting system or program. It doesn't exist yet. And with my experience, I've had experience developing software systems and management systems. And usually by the time the project is done, somebody has quit, somebody's been fired, somebody hates it. They are wickedly expensive, very hard to implement, not that simple. And we see lots of examples of that both in federal and provincial government, where it takes many, many years to implement. So I don't see it happening very quickly. If it does happen, it's going to be a while out. In the meantime, questions going to have to be asked: how is that going to work, and how are you going to maintain the levels of performance when you've had tremendous amount of turmoil and tension? I think that the 5.7 days we have in the MBCA is very similar to some of the surrounding CAs. Southern Valley is 4.9 days. So it's pretty difficult to turn things around like, at the local.
Well, that's impressive. That with those timelines, I know through like the province with the building or building inspection industry, we have prescribed timelines that we have to deal with. And I think we're the only association that does have that. I'm surprised they haven't implemented something like that through this process. They have, timelines on a complete application.
And I've never heard anybody ever complain about building.
Other questions for Ed? Go ahead, Councillor Elliott, sir.
I noticed on the map here, this is all the regions change and how big area they got. And ours is huge. The area that we have to cover now, that even more than me, like you seem to have amalgamated a whole bunch of communities together and lands and stuff like. But I noticed the Toronto area is fairly small. Now, are we getting the same representation Toronto get, or is this political again? Are we getting like certain areas will get more representation, or are we getting less representation, or how's that working?
Through you.
Go ahead, sir.
There are very different environments and very different funding levels as well. Like we have a $4.5 million budget in the MCA, they have a $300 million budget in the Toronto region. So it's going to be very different there than it is here. I think Lake Simcoe is a $30 million budget. So they do things very differently. They've got a lot more expenses as well, a lot more programs that they're running, and you just do the population. But one of the things that comes from a representational standpoint is the idea that conservation authorities are based on watersheds. Maitland Valley watershed, it's the Saugeen Valley watershed. The population is not necessarily the first driver when it comes to representation. The land area should be an important part of that. Certainly the agricultural part of Ontario, the crops coming off that land should be of importance. So the streams and the rivers and the wetlands, all those things are major factors. And so from a representational standpoint, one could certainly argue that the land itself, the environment itself deserves representation just as much as the population does. Yeah. Representation purely by population skews it towards a CA like the Toronto Region CA or now the Central Region.
If I could, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
Minto all the way down through Roxter and Dory and Wingham and such like, and especially in our community of Harrison, we've done so much work on preventing floods. Will we lose? I'm afraid we're going to lose representation where we're on top of that, and our staff will become less and less. I know they say that everything's going to stay the same, but I assume that through either attrition or will they replace people, or will we have that kind of contact? Can we get a hold of somebody and say, now we can? And we won't be able to then.
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't know. Province has not put together the plan. We don't have the playbook yet. All we have is what the regional conservation is going to be for us. We don't know how it's going to be. And our big concern is that when you go to other provincial ministries, they're at a higher level necessarily, just by necessity. They're province-wide. So they're going to need to look after things province-wide. And they're not necessarily going to be at the same local level that we're accustomed to in conservation. Mm-hmm. So the big concern is that no, we will not get as good a service and representation. And we're not even that concerned about next year or the year after that. What about 10 years from now? What's going to be like 10 years from now? Are we still going to have the local people when our regional conservation authority board will be totally dominated by Lake Simcoe? Now, Lake Simcoe people are wonderful people, great people, nothing against them at all. But they are gonna do the same as all we have to. They have to represent people in their constituency. And when they dominate the board, anything that happens along the Lake Huron shoreline all the way down to Park Hill, you know, we hope that they will be responsible for everything within their jurisdiction. But will they give the same degree of attention to our area all the way down the Lake Huron shoreline? They will to their own area where they have the biggest responsibility.
So we're building something and Kerry needs comments from Maitland Valley. Is that going to be delayed? Are we going to, right now, we can move ahead really quickly with our building and get things done. Is that going to cause us that many problems within all our communities?
That's the concern, precisely. That is very much. Yeah. And the example of that town that I mentioned that has been waiting for 2 years to get its speed limit sign. I mean, I'm sure the town staff could do it in, before morning coffee break. That's signs new, but that's not how it works. You have to get permission to continue. So that's exactly the concern we have here. Anything related to conservation, building permits.
Thanks.
Other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Zimmerman.
So something that's really been a question in my mind is, out of all these conservation authorities, what was so broken that caused all this to happen in the first place?
There's been a lot of speculation about that, which we really can't speak to, of course. One of the primary things that I said right from the very beginning, the very first press conference that Mr. McCarthy held on October 31st, 2025, he said that it's a fragmented system. And my first comment was, no, it's not. It's a fine-tuned system. Because as you can see, the Lake Ontario shoreline is dramatically different from the Lake Erie shoreline. Dramatically different from Lake Huron. Lake Simcoe is a totally different. Lake Simcoe has its own act, the Lake Simcoe Protection Act. So all these different areas are very, very different from each other. So they're fine-tuned. I would argue that they work really well. Now, is there differences between different CAs and how they handle things? Absolutely, there is. In some cases, it makes sense. Other cases, there may have been concerns. And as Ed mentioned earlier about the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing that looks after the Ontario Building Code, ABC, there are times all across this province where people want to interpret the OBC differently. Now, Ottawa, they may want to interpret differently than, say, Windsor or Toronto or where we are. Where I live, we have a 2.6 kPa snow load. You handle things very differently down in Chatham, where I think the snow load is about 1.1 or 1.2 kPa. Very different construction then because of that. So built into the building code is the ability to handle all these differences. And if there is a problem, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing adjudicates and straightens out the problems. And there's a number of different methodologies that they use to do that, including materials evaluation. It's almost too bad that conservation authorities didn't have a ministry that could adjudicate any difference between municipal, between different individual conservation authorities, like, say, for example, the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Maybe they could have evened out some of the issues. But they didn't.
Well, it is absolutely disappointing that it's gone this way, and I'm thinking that we'll advocate every chance we get to get them to come to their senses.
And if I may just add one small point is that the Lake Simcoe people, I've met them, worked with them, nice people, great people. The majority of the municipalities, regions that constitute the area that Lake Simcoe Regional Conservation Area covers, they do not have elected heads of council. They are provincially appointed heads of council. And that can make a difference to the representation in their municipalities in their regions. That is something that is very concerning for us. When townships got told that no longer, the townships have been the conservation authority. All of the conservation authority board members in NBCA are townships and towns. So one sentence, we just got wiped right off. And that seems kind of offensive, actually. We've been part of conservation for the last 75 years. Told that we're no longer participating, doesn't matter anymore. It's all going up to the upper tier level, county level, regional municipalities. And that seemed kind of very undemocratic. Put it that way. It's probably a lot of term to be certainly undemocratic.
Yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face for folks like Phil Beard that have been in the Conservation Authority business for 40 years, 50 years, whatever. And now he retires and wonders about what's going to happen. So what you're asking us today to do is talk to our MPP representatives. Is there something more like, I mean, is there different municipalities sending documents to our minister or the ministry? What's happening? Anything?
Yes. We are, the township of Huron Kinloss has asked for a delegation and has received a delegation. Mr. Davies, the annual conference in Ottawa next week. Did have one to the minister, the Ottawa conference last January, and we asked to split the Huron Region Conservation Authority parts. And so we're asking exactly the same thing again. Asking until they can get a room. We have also, thankfully, we had a local township neighboring to us that we gave a delegation to a while back, and they would like to participate in that delegation. We gave a delegation to the county of Huron a couple of weeks ago, and they are joining us, and the county of Bruce last Thursday, and they are going to join us as well. So we're hoping to get kind of a I guess united front of people in this region to meet with the minister and try to persuade them that this is a good idea. And really, it's pretty simple. I mean, they've gone from 36 to 9 conservation authorities. What's one more? Make it 10.
So are you aware of any other requests? Is it still Minister McCarthy? Yeah, has there been other requests, like we split others, or is this the only one?
Not that I've heard.
Yeah.
They did move from 7 to 9.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you want a motion?
So do we need a motion to accept Ed's report, and we?
Did you want to look at that motion? What he's asked for?
Yes, I think so.
I can present one for you if you'd like.
Okay.
Um,
One question, Mr. Allen.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just quickly, can we send a letter of support to your group that you could take to the delegation from the mayor and council?
We would certainly accept any support. Certainly letters are, I think they do read those documents. And then just as one small clarification, when we talk about taking the Lake Huron Region Conservation Authority and breaking it into 2 parts, we don't know where that line should be drawn. There's lots of speculation where it could be just in that little narrow piece there, or it could be maybe horizontally across the Lake Huron. It's really not our problem, actually. That's the province's job. You figure out where you want to draw that line. But what we want to have is a rural, small town Ontario conservation authority, not dominated by BC. Thanks.
Okay, so Clerk McRaw, do you have a
So
motion?
I've just drafted a quick motion here. That the council of Town of Minto receive the delegation from Maitland Valley Conservation Authority presentation to council regarding amalgamation of local conservation authorities for information, and further that the Lake Huron Regional Conservation Authority be split in half. So it is indeed a Lake Huron region, and that Lake Simcoe and Georgian Bay and the more heavily populated areas do their own regional conservation authority. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Could I make?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is just a draft.
Split in half,
Yes,
we say split in two parts,
Two
yeah.
parts, okay?
because we don't necessarily want to tell a conservation authority.
Yes. So it'd be split in two parts.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor. Adams.
could we CC that letter as part of our, and just send it to you? and
As
you
part
can-
of follow-up, it would be sent to Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, and we would send it off to our
Brilliant.
MPs and our premier and
And
everything
then you
else.
could take that as part of your reports to delegation, as a delegation.
So they've clearly said though, representation by population, that's kind of what they said, and we're being outweighed very heavily. Okay, so would you mind reading that motion again?
Sorry.
Annalise,
That the
please?
council of the town of Minto receives a delegation from Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. Presentation to council regarding amalgamation of local conservation authorities for information. And further, that the Lake Huron Regional Conservation Authority be split into two parts. So it is indeed a Lake Huron region, and let Lake Simcoe and Georgian Bay and the more heavily populated areas be their own regional conservation authority.
Okay, so do we have a mover? Councillor Potnovitz, Councillor Elliott? Everybody understand what we're voting on here? All in favor of the motion? That's great, thank you, and that's carried. Appreciate your time, Chairman, Councillor McGugan. Appreciate you coming. And thank you. We hope you can make some headway at AMO.
Thank you for your time. Very good.
And send our regards to Phil. I understand that he's incapacitated today.
Injured himself.
Thanks, Jamie. Okay, so we're moving into open forum. We'll now begin open forum with up to 15 minutes for a registered speaker to share concerns or information on matters of the municipal interest. Those who sign the register may speak once for up to 3 minutes. Council will not make motions, decisions, or comments during open forum. All remarks must remain respectful, and issues outside of the town's jurisdiction, including matters that may conflict with human rights legislation, cannot be addressed. And thank you. We will proceed into open forum.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. We do have two people who have signed, but they did not put topics, but because it's 3 minutes, I will set my timer for when they come up, and I will give you a wave when there's 1 minute left, if that makes sense. And our first person is Louise Howe.
Okay, Louise, welcome. You understand? You can move up
you
to
have
the
to
mic,
have the
state your
mic.
name, Louise.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Is picking it up?
Is it picking it up?
Use the voice.
Hello?
that- Louise, use the voice that you're hollering at your dog or your kids.
You could try the other microphone if that one is not working.
Probably because I'm not talking loud enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go. Hi, I'm Louise Howe and I'm running for council. So my question is, it'll probably be in two parts. While I'm talking to people, they're asking me a question on what's going to be happening because of the fall fair coming up. Now, it might be small to you guys, but for them, I guess it's a big thing. They're just concerned about the bridge not being done because of we're having, you know, the parade and stuff like that. So I reassured them. I said, normally, when we have constructions, they have certain dates, and I think our date is at sometime in August that the bridge should be done. But I said things do happen because sometimes we can't control weather and things like that. But I said I'm coming to the meeting, and I was going to ask you guys, do we know if we're on time, if it's being delayed? And if so this is my second part of the question, do we have a plan for the fall fair? For the parade and stuff like that, if they're still late and we can't go through there for the fall fair?
Okay, thank you very much for the question.
Thank you.
Second on the list is Stefan von Muhlen. You,
Yes. My name is Stefan von Mullenen. I live in Township of Minto for the last 40 years. And I have a question about the wind turbine, like ProWind. My first question would be, how did they choose this area? Like, when I went there, I never got a clear question or never got a clear answer. Why would they come to Minto? Would you have an answer for that?
Okay, I don't personally have an answer for that. Do we have can we have an answer for that, CAO Courtney, please?
Through your Mayor Turton to members of the council and visitors, ProWind approached us. We have not, we did not solicit ProWind or anybody else, and the town remains completely neutral on the topic. We have not entered into negotiations or any other aspect of that process.
Oh, I see. But I was really surprised, like, I asked that question, the guy, if they ever, kind of why, and I was surprised. The reason I wanted to know that, whether you invited him, whatever it is, I just like to ask you, what's the number one thing to make, what is needed for a wind turbine?
Wind.
Thank you. So have they done a wind study? Do they know?
Sorry, there's no question.
Go ahead. All right, we'll just answer this one question,
Yeah,
one more
then I'm
question,
good.
okay, and then we're done.
Again, this is completely outside of the town of Minto's jurisdiction, and this is not a project that we have solicited or have any jurisdiction over. So this is completely ProWind coming into the town of Minto and seeing what is available for their project or not.
Thank you. I have no more than I did. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. So for the first question, we are going to have a report on the bridge a little bit later, correct, Mike? Okay, thank you. So we'll move along. Those two names are the only two on the list. Thank you, and we'll move into correspondence. Title lengthy list of correspondence, and we've got a recommendation moved by Councillor Potnovitz, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the council receives the correspondence as information. So there is quite a number on there, and there's a few I'm sure that we'll want to talk about. Go ahead, Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. I would like to pull item H
H.
regarding the Permanent Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, the OC funding.
Okay, so what we can do here is if there's ones that we want to pull, we'll have them pulled, we'll have a motion, and we'll do them all at once. Is that fair? Others? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Can you please put your microphone up? Does it work? Yes, I believe it does.
Is the green light on?
It is, but I think
Is it working?
but anyway,
Yes.
I was wanting to pull I'm looking for it now, the Beacons of Light British Home Children and
Mhm.
Child Migrants. Please.
Okay, so others, I would like to see us do something about the vacant commercial storefront tax one, which is B. And so C is to do with the Town of Bruce Mines Practice Ready Ontario program. I think we should support our northern communities in reference to that. Give this some thought, and I think we should consider that. I mean, supporting each other in municipalities, there's 440 in Ontario, and if we've got a municipality that's suffering, we likely should have a voice for them. And the last one is the fire. R, Village of Merrickville, Walford. Sustainable Fire Service funding. Again, we've got a small municipality, and we suffer with it as well. Chief Farrell, what do you think of that? So we'll pull that one. And
So,
so
maybe
that's,
just for ease of, because there's quite a few items
Okay.
on the list.
yep,
I kind of will create maybe some quick motions here
Uh-huh.
that I could read out. Then you can have a mover and seconder and discuss each one individually, if that works, okay?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, so I believe the item B would have been the first one. And the motion would be that council of the town of Minto supports the town of Plimpton, Wyoming resolution regarding vacant commercial storefront tax.
Okay, a mover and a seconder for that one, please. Deputy Mayor Anderson, Councilor Elliott, thank you. Gordon, can you just talk about this for a second, please? Because I think this is important to the town of Minto.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you, Mayor Turton. So as you're likely aware, vacant rebates were a hot topic probably a decade ago or so. And the council of the town of Minto opted to retain our existing program, which we've had. So that's kind of the incentive. If you work with the town, you take advantage of our many CIP incentives and that. And you follow the other rules, you have a property that is in marketable condition and actively are trying to obtain a tenant, you can obtain some tax relief. It's not huge, but it's something. So I'm going to say that's the carrot. This is more the stick. You've got people that don't maybe follow these rules and have vacant commercial properties. So we've been looking, other municipalities, mostly larger than Minto, have been investigating this, just the feasibility of it. It sounds like if it were to come into effect, it can't come into effect right now because there's no provincial legislation, which is what you need. And I believe what Prince Edward County and Plimpton, Wyoming are asking is for support for the province to open that up. There's many aspects. You're probably familiar with the vacant residential one. Big in British Columbia, in Ontario, some larger municipalities have brought it in. Again, there's administrative costs in that. However, in this case, it's not like we're talking hundreds of properties. So I think the administrative burden would be relatively small. It looks like the other municipalities are mostly single tier. So again, how will this work in a two tier where we're the lower tier in the counties? So, but I think all those points are a little premature. This is just asking for support of the concept.
So hopefully this one isn't, be careful what you wish for.
Jack.
Okay, yeah, so can we vote on this? All in favor of that motion? All right, that's carried. Thank you. The next one then is?
Item C, and that would be that the council of the town of Minto supports the town of Bruce Mines resolution regarding Practice Ready Ontario program.
Okay, what do you think on this one? Deputy Mayor Anderson, who can second that? Councillor Gunson? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Anderson.
If I could just speak to it for a moment, it's not just the northern areas of Ontario, all of Ontario needs support with this. And for a long, long time, we have had fully trained physicians working in RPN or RN roles because of regulations, and they're forced to go down to the States to get an adequate degree to come back up here to practice. And instead they stay down there. So the more we can do to advocate for this, finding a family physician and being able to access one in a reasonable time frame is still almost impossible and contributing heavily to the overcrowding and lack of service available in our merged departments.
All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Next.
Thank you. The next item would be item H, that the council of town of Minto supports the municipality of Wawa resolution regarding the Permanent Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, OCIF funding.
We have a mover and a seconder for this one, please. Deputy Mayor Anderson and Councillor Councillor Dirksen, sorry. So this one here is coming again from the north and, they're a very small municipality out in the middle of nowhere and can't, this OCIF fund, they rely on it every year. And so what we're saying here is we need a commitment. So, can we have a mover and a seconder, please? We have one. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. All right, so the next one is M, the township of, go ahead.
Thank you. That the council of the town of Minto supports the township of Halmaids, I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that
Halmaids.
horribly. Resolution regarding the beacons of light, British home, children's and child migrants.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Anderson. Councillor Zimmerman. This is fairly straightforward. Okay, all in favor of the motion? It's carried, thank you. And the last one then is the Sustainable Fire Service Funding, R.
Sorry, I will get there. Sorry, there, we just put it on M, but there was it's just a friendly amendment. And further that the town of Minto light Tannery Park in yellow on September 28th as a tribute.
As correct. And another suggestion that the committee makes is that town people light up their porches as a, I don't know if everybody knows about the British home children, but these children were surrendered to orphanages, designed or proposed to be protective of them. If their father died in a mining accident, the mother was left with children, she couldn't afford them, she'd surrender them to the nursing or to the orphanage, and when she'd go to collect them, they'd be gone. And they would have been sent to Canada, Australia, and this program went until 1948, where these children were sent, and they did a really interesting display on it. The Historical Society did. They each got a trunk with the Pilgrim's Progress in it for the ladies, the girls, and an apron, pair of shoes. The men had a pair of overalls and a pair of boots. The families were to care for them and educate them, but they frequently used them as unpaid labor. And those people will not speak of what happened to them. They lost all track of their families. They had no idea where they came from. It's a project worth looking into. It is a heartbreaking story.
Okay, we have
So
a mover and a seconder then?
Yep.
All right, there'll be more to come, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, all in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. And now we're
Item
into,
R.
Yep,
Thank you. The motion before you would be that the council of town of Minto supports the village of Merrickville, Wolford resolution regarding sustainable fire service funding resolution.
okay, mover and a seconder, Councillor Deputy Mayor Anderson, Councillor Gunson. That's pretty straightforward. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you.
And so we would just need,
The rest.
yes.
So
sorry.
the original motion was, in respect to the correspondence received. So the ones that we haven't talked about, the 5,
Yes.
we have a motion to pass the rest of them. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we move along to staff reports. There is no committee minutes, so we'll move to the staff reports and, we'll ask our, Mr. Wesley Graham to bring us up to date on the 2026 building permit stats so far. Welcome, Wes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Turton and Council. So this is the 2026 year-to-date review for the building permits. Next slide, Quinn. So this is 2026 year-to-date. We have 143 permits issued at this point, worth 51.5 million. We're having a good year. We haven't had a year like this since 2022, but a part of this, we have 31 agricultural permits worth 7.5 million roughly. With that, we have 5 new barns, 3 new barn additions, and 11 new sheds, shops, hay storage, anything like that with a roof. TG Minto for industrial, they've actually pulled 4 of those 7 permits with a larger 5th one in the works. So TG's having a good year for us. And then residential wise, we're back into some good numbers in terms of dwelling units. We had 54 permits worth 28.6 million for residential, and out of that, we get 72 new dwelling units. And 36 of these are going to come from a brand new apartment going up in Palmerston. Next slide. So this is stats actually since this council's been in 2022 to 2025. We'll just go over. So I said this year we're already sitting at 72 new dwelling units. 2025 we only did 28. 2024, we only did 33. 2023, we did 29, and then 2022, which was our last good year, we did 85 new dwelling units. So in August, we're almost back to 2022 numbers. Now we'll just get into some nice pictures. So this is our 2026 agricultural highlights. On the left is a calf barn. On the right is a dairy addition. The next page, we've got on the top left a manure tank. Top right, we're setting precast slats on a pig barn addition. Bottom left, we have a new beef barn that replaced an existing bank barn that was tore down. And bottom right, we have a bunk silo with footing barn tied. Next page, this is all for a manure storage and machinery storage. Quite a bit amount of rebar in there. These are 10-foot tall cement walls when they were poured. I just don't have those pictures here. Next picture, next one, we'll get into our industrial highlights. On the left was opening for the expansion of Palmerston Manufacturing. So that's the new footings and the new half of the manufacturing plant going in. And then on the right is we're putting a lean-to addition over top of some equipment at TG Minto. So we'll get into some residential here. On the left, we have a house completely framed and ready for inspection. On the right, we have a house currently being framed and getting ready for inspection. On the left, we have 2 single-family dwellings getting prepped for a backfill, and on the right, we have the backfill completed and a semi-detached being framed. Next slide. So on the left, again, we'll have a single-family dwelling ready for framing. On the right, that is a move-in ready in our subdivision here in Harriston. And then just some more residential highlights. So this is from the base pour for the apartment in Palmerston. It's a local company doing the concrete work. Is nice. So that's a bunch of rebar being tied. Those are strip footings on the right. And on the left is also strip footings with pad footings. And then next, a little more on our residential highlights. The top left is a slab on grade prep for pour, and it will be a detached garage on top of that. And bottom left and right are just showing 2 single-family dwellings ready for backfill. And this is something a little more interesting I don't get to see very often, so I brought it forward. This is also at the Palmerston Apartment site, and this is going to be our stormwater management. So this is basically on the furthest right, that's the excavation. Middle picture, that's going to show an impermeable layer. So we're going to store water in this, and it'll percolate back into the groundwater. And then furthest right, that just kind of shows their starting layout. Those are infiltration chambers, and that's where the water will be. And in the next slide, you'll kind of get to see a little more of what it looks like. Like that's roughly 120 feet long. I don't know how much water this is going to store, but there's 3 chambers like this on the site, and we're actually going to park cars over this when it's all said and done. And the next one just kind of shows on the left, that's then pouring the granular base on top of the chambers, we'll call them. On the right is granular up, and on this furthest end, I don't know if that's a catch basin or a dog house that's just sitting there before it, but that's where the water will collect and go to. And then on the right, that is just our impermeable layer on top. We'll put topsoil on top of that and a parking lot. And that is that. Any questions or comments?
Questions for Wes? Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Why we got a big building increase this year? Any thoughts about it? Is it economics or?
So for our subdivision builders selling single family homes, they're citing the HST rebate. It's helping them. So that's one thing, pumping along. Residential, agriculture always is a baseline, stays good. We only get worried when that one goes down, and it hasn't yet. So, and then for industrial, I think there's just been a few grants been received by our local employers that are causing them to expand.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Other questions? Wes, that HST, is it good for 1 year?
I think if you have your permit pulled before March of next year, it's good for 5 years.
Oh.
You have to build within 5 years. What that looks like, I don't know. So just need a permit by next year, and then you got a 5-year window to get it done.
Okay, there's no questions. Thank you very much for that report.
Thank you.
We have a recommendation moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of Town of Minto receives the building report 2026-002, prepared by the Deputy Chief Building Official regarding the 2026 building permit stats for information. All in favor of the motion? Good news, Les. Thank you very much. Next one, I'll pass the chair to our deputy mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor Turton. And I'm going to pass it over to Chief Harrow to present a report. He actually has 3 reports in total. And I'll let him start with the first one.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Anderson. I always hate following you last because you always have the good news report, so for all the money he's making for everything. But anyway, the first report's just a pre-approval for the annual funding that we get for the grant from the Fire Marshal's Office. This grant's been in place for 4 years now. It's sustainable funding that you passed the motion on before to hopefully keep this going. It does come with criteria to say we have to spend it on cancer prevention, material related items. So this year we're going to be buying some more bunker gear and some particulate blocking hoods. So those are the 2 things on the docket for all 3 municipalities. So it's just pre-approval that we have it in place. So when the grant comes out, we can sign the agreement and we can spend the money.
Thank you very much. So moved by Councillor Podnowitz and seconded by Councillor Dirksen that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report Fire 2026-006 prepared by the Director of Fire Services regarding the Fire Protection Grant Program for information purposes, and further that Council approves the application submitted by the Fire Service Management Team for the Fire Protection Grant Program and allow staff to enter into a transfer payment agreement with the province to receive the funds. And further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the bylaw to enter into the agreement. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that's passed. And we'll move on to the second report.
The second report we have before you today is the Specialty Rescue Services Agreement. Since we disbanded our confined space and water rescue team, we've had a handshake agreement with Center Wellington to provide those services for us in the water rescue area and the ice rescue area. Confined space is still on a by basis agreement with Guelph Fire because not many people around offer confined space rescue anymore. So this is just formalizing the agreement and entering it into it properly so that it's executed. That if we have a rescue of that nature, they will be double dispatched with us. So that means they will respond at the exact same time that we are to go to an incident like this to perform the rescue. It does not mean that we're not going to show up. It still means we'll be there. We will set up. We will get things ready, but they will come and perform the actual rescue because they are certified to the technician level, which allows them to do that. So this is formalizing that and getting the agreement to be signed so that we have that in place.
Thank you. So moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Podnowitz. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Minto receive report Fire 2026-007 prepared by the Director of Fire Services regarding specialty rescue services for information. And further that Council authorizes the Mayor and Clerk to sign the agreement for specialty rescue services to be provided by Center Wellington Fire Department. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll ask the question. All in favor? And that's passed as well. And to the third report.
The third report that we have, I'd like to just bring them in bunches.
Sure.
So that we get it all done at one time. Is bring it up here. So that I don't forget any parts of it. The borderless response agreement. So this is the next phase of the partnership that we have with the other 2 municipalities. That we presently have mutual aid agreements. We have some automatic aid agreements, which means we're both dispatched at the same time. We both help each other out. This formalizes it to let us put into effect the borderless response agreement, meaning the closest fire stations will go no matter what the municipality the emergency is in. So this is formalizing it. This is creating many different response zones so that we will identify through GISing and mapping, digital form through the dispatch center, which of the top 6 stations go. So if there's an incident happens in this location, here will be the 6 stations that would respond in that order. So if automatically 2 are sent and then they get on scene, they ask for a third station, a fourth station, etc., they will be all predetermined for them as per drive time analysis and other factors like speed limits, restrictions, and stuff like that. So we've got the zones done. We're just in the process of working with Guelph Fire Dispatch to put them into place once this is all approved. But it will improve response times for all residents of the communities, and it just makes sense, quite frankly. There will be a yearly report that comes back to council to make sure that not one municipality is getting taken advantage of over another one, so that it can remain as relatively revenue neutral as possible. If there is one municipality that is responding to another municipality more times than one, then we will bring that back, and there will be some cost sharing that will be involved in that as well. But at this time, we don't anticipate any major costs going before other municipalities, because one corner of the municipality might be helped out by another one in this corner, but another corner is helped out somewhere else. So our anticipation is it's going to help everybody out and come in fairly equal. But you will still see a report every year of the responses and how many responses are back and forth, and who's going to which municipality how many times. So.
Okay, thank you for that report. So I'll read the recommendation again. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Elliott, that the Council of the Town of Minto receive report Fire 2026-008, prepared by the Director of Fire Services regarding a borderless response agreement as information. And further, that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to sign the agreement to allow Minto Fire to operate under the borderless response protocols established when responding. Are there any questions? Yes, Councillor Elliott?
Chris, it's great to have borderless, but quite often dispatch will make a mistake and call out the wrong department. Do you still have I believe you always had the option where you go until somebody calls you off, or do you say, no, that's not my call, and you fall behind? What's your protocol?
Thanks for the question through W. Mayor Anderson. Yeah, there's still going to be mistakes made with cell phone callers. Cell phone callers don't always know where they are. So that's when we get those problems. They say they're at side road 3 and such, but they're actually somewhere else. So those mistakes will happen. But with next generation 911 that's now in place, they can target cell phone and different callers right where they are. So stuff has become a lot more digital and a lot more GIS, so that they will pinpoint exactly where they are. It will fall, that GIS point will fall right into their mapping system, which is where we have our zones. So if you picture all 3 municipalities as one big map, we have about 119 zones, little boxes within those municipalities. Right. So that if it falls within that box, it will automatically come up on the screen. Here's the 6 stations that would respond in order through 1 through 6. So there's a lot less room for error. With humans involved, there's always going to be error. So their protocol will always be, if you get called, you keep going till you get called off, because no matter what, we want to get somebody there.
And you go set up, and next group comes in, then you can leave.
Absolutely. Yep. And the way we work now is we do that with different, we don't have this in place yet. We do that now. And because of the partnership, we work so well together that it's seamless anyway. So we just exhibited that at the recent Stroff and Shed fire that we had, that we were operated there for 23 hours. And it was rotated through, crews rotated through. We had mutual aid partners. Everybody worked well together. So it works better that way.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? I would just like to make a comment. I would like to extend my heartfelt thank you to all of your workers. You've had quite a summer. That some dreadful accidents and the straw fires and so forth and so on. And I kept thinking about your workers and the local communities, businesses that allow them time off to attend to that and the service they provide. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everything they do. I'd like you to pass that message on, please.
Thank you, Deputy Manager. I definitely will, because I concur. They have had an extremely busy summer, and they will never allow me to go on holidays again, because that was the week that I was on holidays. So
well,
I have been instructed that I'm not allowed. So they put in an exceptional amount of hours, all stations and everybody, for that entire weekend summer. So thank you.
Just unbelievable. Thank you so much. And on that point, I will call a question. All in favor? And that is passed. And I will pass the chair to Councillor Gunson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Anderson. So we've got one report today, winter maintenance of connecting links agreement. and Mike is here to present the report. So go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Chair Gunson. Yeah, this is something we don't want to think about already, but it is an annual report. The winter maintenance agreement between Town of Minto and IMOS, or Owen Sound Highway Maintenance, which provides the yearly maintenance requirements for highways, Highway 9, 23, and 89 throughout our community here. With a very slight increase over last year's contract. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thanks, Mike. I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, second by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report PW 2026-029 Winter Maintenance of Connecting Links Agreement, prepared by the Roads and Drainage Manager for information purposes. And further that the Council of the Town of Minto considers approving 2 bylaws in open session, authorizing the mayor and clerk to sign both agreements. Any questions for Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's not a question, but I asked, after this is passed or defeated, can we ask Mike to give us a report on the 3 major construction projects?
I can do that. Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding the connecting links? Mike, can you give us a report on the 3 construction projects, please?
You should probably do the motion.
Oh,
first.
just hang on, Mike,
Let's
just
do
hang
the
on.
motion.
Let's pass this one here first, PW 2026-029. All in favor? That's passed, thank you. Mike, could you give us a update on the construction?
Well, I will do my best on this. As for the Young Street Bridge, the bridge contractor is expecting to complete their work within the next 2 to 3 weeks. However, there will be a time frame where they're gonna have to wait for their subcontractor for the paving and any road works that need to be completed. It is probably expected late September, early October before it is open. But as for the fall fair there, the parade route will stay as it previously has. If it is open, if it's not open by that September 19th date, then it's going to be the same route with the exception of it going down Maitland Street to George to then the arena. Okay. Main Street, Palmerston, the East End roundabout is probably 2 to 3 weeks for completion. I believe the north side of the road of the east leg was paved today. So then that just basically leaves restoration works for the individual properties there. West End, the curbs for the roundabout are scheduled to start this week sometime. So that's going to start to take shape. Once the 2 roundabouts are functional, there is various other components to the project throughout the east and west ends that will be completed after that, but we need those the 2 roundabouts functional before we can interrupt or further detour traffic to other locations. Arthur Street, Elora, from Elora Street to John Street, sidewalks are being put in place right now. It's gonna be one of those things, even though that section of road is looking like it's done, we won't be able to open it until the bridge on Arthur Street's open. And that's looking like probably late October to early November for that. The west end, west of the bridge at John to the west end, you start to see curbing and the road take place over the next couple weeks here as well. So all 3 projects are moving along. Various components are ahead of schedule, others are slightly behind. Giving you timelines on completion is very tough with obviously weather, subcontractors, coordination. There's a lot of variables throughout, so we're not overly concerned with timelines of any of the projects at this point. We are doing bi-weekly update meetings with the contractors, engineering, and staff just to make sure that there isn't any real unforeseen hiccups. So if there's any questions.
Any questions for Mike?
Sounds
All good? Hopefully that helps you, Louise. Give you some information. And I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Councillor Gunson. And we have two items on the treasurer's agenda, finance agenda this afternoon, and I'll turn it over to Treasurer Duff.
Great. Thanks, Chair Dirksen. So the first one is a transfer payment agreement, and this is somewhat similar to Chief Harrow's, only as Mike indicated, this project's well underway right now. This is for the Connecting Link construction. So again, this is a really good program that the town of Minto has benefited over. The road portion of the eligible expenses, meaning not the underground servicing, we get a 90% grant. So that's about as good as you get. So we received a letter that we will have funding of $2,670,525, again, depending on the actual costs that are incurred. So this is just a report to authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign the transfer payment agreement.
Okay. I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the council of the town of Minto hereby receives report finance 2026-020 transfer payment agreement Connecting Link intake 11 2026-2027 prepared by the treasurer for information purposes. And further, that the council of the town of Minto considers a bylaw in regular session authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement between His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure and the town of Minto. Are there any questions for Treasurer Duff? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. That carries. And we'll go back to Treasurer Duff for the second report.
Great. So this is a budget amendment report, and you probably recall we often have one of these, usually a little later in the year. However, because it's an election year and this is one of our last active council meetings, I wanted to bring it forward now. The other changes, we're recommending changes to the mayor's budget as opposed to the council budget as we had in previous years. So there's a few things. The development charges background study has been pretty much completed, and we're working on that. However, while we were working on this, regulations for DCs were constantly changing. One of them is they've changed and somewhat restricted some of the uses of the various categories. So there's one now called growth-related studies. Basically, we can only use funds in that for these development charge background studies, or perhaps a review of the official plan, which is quite rare, and we haven't had one of those for a while. So we're recommending that we take 40,000 from this reserve because we don't know when we're going to be able to use these funds again, and that would be a good use of that reserve. On the water side, Palmerston Wells, they've been doing inspections, and during the inspections, they found that a well motor and a check valve needed to be replaced immediately. So that was not forecast. So that's 35,000, and we wish to take that from the water capital reserve. Again, as when we were doing our capital budget, many of our projects are development driven, which means development comes forward, but the town needs to complete the servicing. So we had such a project at the corner of Jane and Norman Streets on that property. However, our wastewater foreman said that this project is now delayed. So we're not going to spend that money, but he would like to do more sewer lining, kind of in the northwest part of Harrison. So basically, we want to take the 180,000 from the Jane and Norman project to sewer lining. Again, that's just basically reallocating projects. The community improvement plan, again, I think this kind of ties in with Wes's report. We've got a bit more activity. More people are taking advantage of the incentives that we do have. And our Economic Development Committee would like to leverage some of this additional spending. Belinda is the expert on this, but basically we put in $1, we generate about $7 in investment. And so we have a relatively modest amount of 28,000, and we would like to take that from the Economic Development Reserve Fund. So I want to emphasize there's no change to the tax levy or anything like that. It's just moving money around.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Treasurer Duff. I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Podnowitz, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives Report Finance 2026-021, 2026 budget amendments prepared by the Treasurer for information purposes, and further that the Council of the Town of Minto authorizes the Treasurer to make the recommended changes to the Mayor's 2026 budget. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, it's not a question, it's a comment. It's a budget is a guideline, and when we move money around from time to time, it's pretty normal.
That's exactly it, because we were doing this about 11 months ago, so things change.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor? Thank you, that carries. And
you.
I will thank you, Treasurer Duff, and I will turn the chair back to Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. We have one item here in the Clerk's Department. It's CL 2026-006. It's the non-application of the Line Fence Act, and I'll ask our Clerk McRobb to give us a report.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. Just a little bit of background on this Line Fences Act. It kind of was referred to in a legislative act in 1793, and then the first legislative act was passed in 1834, and it's not much newer than that. It is a very old act. And when I went to a conference for AMCTO, that was one thing that was discussed, was this, that a lot of municipalities are now opting out of it because of it's antiquated. Really, there's only two reasons that you can use it. It's out in the country, and it's where no fence currently exists at the boundary and one owner seeks to construct a new fence, or when a fence already exists and one owner believes it requires a reconstruction or repair. We can only determine the apportionment of work or a description of the fence, but not where the line is, right? That's not the job. I have spoken to the building department in regards to this as well, and they advise that property owners who are planning to build a fence, they need to ensure that they know where the boundary line is when they build it. They're told that through the building department. So we've had one, in my understanding and my recall, since 2000 at the town of Minto. I did look into other ones. Wellington North has had this bylaw passed, I think, for a few years. And then the other municipalities say they process fewer than one or two in the last 2 terms of council.
Thank you, Clerk McRobb. We have a recommendation moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report CL 2026-006, a non-application of the Line Fence Act prepared by the Director of Legislative Services, Clerk, for information purposes, and further that Council considers a bylaw in open session to opt out of the Line Fences Act in the Town of Minto. Questions? Go ahead,
Thank you, Mayor Turton.
Councillor Dirksen, our resident agricultural engineer.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Not really a question, but I just wanted to say that there's been a lot of changes, certainly in agriculture, over the past several decades. Often fences now are just non-existent between neighbors. And in the past, fence viewers were certainly much busier. They do several visits a year where necessary to help settle disputes, but certainly with only one call in the last 25 years or so, I think it's outlived its usefulness for us. It's obvious it's an unused and probably unnecessary service for the most part. So I just wanted to speak in favor of the motion.
Okay, thank you very much. Other questions? Other comments? Okay, I'm gonna call the question on this. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you very much. And we are now into announcements. Who wants to go first? Counselor Elliott.
Wow, first. Meet Mr. Zimmer. He's probably not got what I got anyway.
Good luck.
Just, Quinn, if you could, I got a famous photographer, Ron Elliott, take this picture off the bridge. This is the sports pad in Palmerston at was. And recently, just a matter of this week, we've got a whole new surface put on it. It's like a fiber surface. And Dave Wilson of the Lions Club headed this up. And we received money from, no taxpayers' money for any of this. The Palmerston Lions put up money. The Palmerston Legion put up money. Palmerston Homecoming put up money. Trillium Insurance, that's the major ones. They have their logos on the property. Trillium Insurance, blessing to you and Brady Vitch's family. Brady Vitch is a Lions member, and his family decided they'd like to put a bunch of money into this too. So it's well received, and we thank Public Works. They were great assistance to us. I guess that is some taxpayers' money. We pay them for our through town, but they were a great assistance to us. And then, as a matter of fact, they're just finishing paying the lines on it now. This should last for years and years. The last two nights, especially last night, we had about 15 on the front court and 10 or 12 on the back court. Front court was used both. The back court was used just one basket. They just reversed and went back and forth. Phenomenal. We're very proud of the Lions Club and especially Dave Wilson for heading this up. And it's a really good thing. As you can see, it's fabulous what they've done. And I'd like to say the mayor's tournament, golf tournament that we had this past week was put on, and it was a phenomenal success. Good, everybody turned out. More teams that wanted in than what they could put in, and well done. Money went to a lot of good causes. I can't remember them all, but maybe the mayor can say who and where. I'm trying to think. But anyhow, always local town people get the funds from it. Well done. This on the 26th or the 20th, the Lions have a golf tournament. Same idea. Funds will go back into the community, and I think we've got around 28, 29 teams. So we can take it at most 36, but we would like to stop around 32. And again, it's raising funds for that. So thought I'd bring that to your attention.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pontovitz.
I have nothing to that.
Councillor Gunson.
Just quickly, the large recycling bins have been dropped off at residents, and I'm to blame today. I put my small blue boxes out today, even though it's not our turn. So I just wanted to bring everybody's attention. If you go on the Town of Minto website and click the link circular materials, we are actually recycling calendar week B, and it tells you when everything's being picked up. So I'm going to download that to my phone, so I don't have my blue boxes out on the main street for people to see when they're not supposed to be there.
Good idea.
You should never have them out again.
You're not alone.
I could just leave them for next week. I'll have to put them in the big bin though.
No, it's gotta go in the big bin. The blue boxes are garbage.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're not garbage, but I'm gonna put them in the big bin too. That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Gunson. I'm thinking that our staff tomorrow at the front desk will certainly get calls and possibly even today. It's one of those things that has happened. It's happening. Solid Waste Services, I know from the county, have tried, as well as the province, have tried to set this up in a way that it's not going to affect our local taxpayers. And it's a situation where you carry the boxes to the curb and you carry them back because they weren't picked up. which is very unfortunate, but we'll get it figured out, so hopefully. Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. So I attended the Harrison Rising Street Party on Saturday. It was wonderful, very well done. Pretty wet day. Had a downpour at the first of it, but turned into a beautiful warm day. So I just wanted to congratulate all the organizers and the town staff that helped out with it. It was really great. And it was also a celebration of 60 years of for Leslie Ford in Harrison, and then also Ron Leslie's 90th birthday party. If you didn't get a piece of cake, I guess you missed it. And because he was there hosting everybody and giving everybody a piece of cake. Also wanted to let everybody know that the Whites Road Pentecostal Church is having a fun fair on August 29th, and that runs from 1 till 4 p.m. Sorry, Councillor Zimmerman. There are bouncy castles, face painting, petting zoo, cotton candy, popcorn, hot dogs, and draw prizes. And everyone is welcome. Sounds like a great time. Now let Councillor Zimmerman do the rest.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. Councillor Zimmerman, is there any left on your sheet?
Well, strangely enough, yeah, there is.
He has a few.
So I'm trying to, I'll go through this in order of dates. So Thursday, August 13th. I was hungry when I was looking at this. James Street United Church in Palmerston is having a spaghetti supper. 4:30 to 6:30, cost is $20 a person. Children under 12 is $10 a person. And the proceeds are going to sponsor their 2027 mission trips. So that would be nice to attend. Friday, August 14th, from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m., the Palmerston Heritage Railway Museum is hosting a family-friendly event called Scoops and Steps. The event features ice cream from Dolce Heaven Cafe, and if you're a good line dancer, come on out. It's going to be a session led by an instructor, Gabriella Andre. Admission is free. There's also lawn games, coloring, temporary tattoos, and certainly would accept donations to the museum so they can keep doing things like this. That would be nice. Saturday, August 15th, Clifford Rotary is having a roadway toll booth from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon on the main street in Clifford. Donations go directly back to community projects, and they are still looking for some volunteers to help them out with that. If you can do that, get a hold of Trish Palmer at 519-327-8142. And then back to the food again. August 20th, Thursday, August 20th, Palmerston Foodland parking lot from 11 until 2. The Maple Leaf Foods Community Cruiser is going to be in town serving hot dogs and sausages. And Ron, you should be happy. This goes to support Palmerston Heritage Lions Park.
We're having some people hand them out.
Well, there you go.
And also work at golf.
Good for you. And I did actually find a late submission here online. Again, food. I don't know what the deal is with that. Sunday, August 23rd, Palmerston Egg Society is having a fish fry. So that's going to be on the Curling Club floor, prepared by the Brussels Legion branch 218. So you can get 2 pieces of fried fish, chips, and coleslaw, dessert. And for some reason, it doesn't have a price here, so it must be free. No, can't be. I don't know what the price is, so you could always find out when you go there. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our resident reporter. Thanks, Paul. Deputy Mayor Anderson.
I don't have any coming events. I think most of them have been covered. I do want to give a shout out though to a couple of members of the Hort Society who embarked upon improving the flower beds or the beds at the school. Apparently the school board doesn't have enough funding to do that sort of thing anymore, and it was looking pretty shabby and sort of falling apart. So 2 of the young ladies and their husbands took it upon themselves to Take out all the old shrubs, dig everything up, put down property or lining stuff, put down the mulch and plant new shrubs and things, with some money provided by the Hort Society from our garden festival. So if your people be heading back to the schools before we know it, a happy thought maybe for some people, not so happy for others. But just take note of that. And it's Sam Greer and her friend Jessica were the two who were spearheading that project, and kudos to them. It looks great.
Perfect, thank you. I mean, our town is made up of volunteers. And there's a lot of volunteers in our community, and we thank them all. Yeah, I just wanted to shout out to Al Dobson and his family, 50 years in business in Palmerston. They celebrated this past week. Congratulations to the family, and we wish them many more years of service. Ron was correct. The Mayor's Golf was Thursday, August 6th, and it was definitely full. Shout out to Tanya, Quinn, Janet, Nicole, our town staff that worked hard, Quinn, on this project. And the 4 different groups was the Minto Vikings was a hardball team, Palmerston Marlins was a softball team, and the Community Resources Group was our raising money for needy people in the community. And the fourth group was the Hairston Centennial Committee. That's seed money for them to get started in preparation for our 150th anniversary in 2028. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you mentioned, Paul, August 19th is the Palmerston Ambassador to the Fair competition. And it's always a fun night. And the other thing is AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. Some of us are heading up to Ottawa on Sunday to Wednesday. We're looking forward to that. So no more announcements. I'm going to move along then. Moved by Councillor Pontovich, second by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Committee of the Whole convenes into regular council. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you. Resolution adopting proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. We've got a resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Potnovich. It's Councillor Town of Minto ratifies the motion made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Bylaws, we've moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that bylaws 2026-037 through 2026-045 be approved, read a first, second, and third time, passed in open council, and seal the corporation. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you. Confirmatory bylaw moved by Councillor Potnovich, seconded by Councillor Elliott, that bylaw 2026-046 to confirm actions of the corporation of the town of Minto respecting a meeting held August 11th, 2026 be prepared, be approved, and read a first, second, and third time, pass an open council, and seal the corporation. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Adjournment. Resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Councillor Zimmerman, that the council of the town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you very much for a very productive meeting today.